koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa, no mai haere mai. Welcome to Mud and Blood, a podcast dark and grim. And welcome to Valley of Blood, an actual play series for the game Warlock here on the channel. This week, before we started, I figured I should explain the various motivations of the NPCs and side characters and how they relate to the political landscape back home in Strussland. Holy United Strussland is based heavily upon our own world's Holy Roman Empire. It is a delicate mix of principalities and petty kingdoms, all held together under the rule of Kaiser von Stronem. The nation is currently rocked with instability, with the Kaiser having recently put down an attempt for one such principality to secede from the Union. Discontent stirs across the land, and dark rumours abound that the Church of Solaria is throwing financial support to the Kaiser's rivals. It's this volatile mix that leans into the reasoning for the various characters of our journey. In all honesty, the Kaiser likely cares little for the upstart priest in a neighbouring land stirring up trouble, but the Church has other ideas. The expedition to find the missing priest is no doubt a play to appease them and stop them stirring up more trouble. The Church of Solaria is not above trading an eye for an eye. But what of Maynard? Why is this hot-headed noble tearing his way through Sinistad in search for Freda, the missing priest's wife? Well, Freda von Hoffmann was born Freda von Kruber and is the sister of an Archduke, one of the most powerful men in all of Strussland. He has demanded his sister and her family get returned to him, as it's through her that he gains access to von Hoffmann lands and wealth. He threatened to raise an army to go and find them by force, but has instead agreed to this expedition as long as he gets to send his best hound onto the scent. And thus we have Maynard, a man who cares little for the priest, but he sees all value in the missing wife. So, the Kaiser is at the head of a delicate balancing act. To keep both the Church and the Archduke in line, he had his Chancellor gather together the party, with delegates from both factions and the players representing his own interests, and he sent them off with the Holy Writ, declaring their word to be his own. Should they be successful, then perhaps he will find peace within his lands. But should they fail, then peace will only be bought with blood and gunsmoke. You may have noticed that Strussland and Svelsing are both rocked with instability, and this here likely is too, though no one knows. I was hoping to achieve the tension that we saw in the real world back before the Falkland Islands crisis. The idea being that you've got too many desperate people who can't afford to look weak. And when such things happen, desperate people do bad things. And it's within this drama that I wanted the campaign to be. But anyway, enough from me. Let us join the party as they arrive at the house of the priest's servant, Elvricht, and find it in disarray and chaos. Let's get back to it. You've just walked in to utter carnage. Standing in the middle of this room is Maynard, looking around frustrated, perplexed, as all around him you can see, much like the von Hoffmanns, furniture has been cast across the floor, and it's just a mess. Unlike the von Hoffmanns, it's not a very elegant place. It never was to begin with. Albrecht clearly lived very modestly. So there's not as much stuff to scatter around. What you do see is torn pillows and discarded sort of furniture, broken plates, things like that. You're not seeing the books scattered everywhere and documents and things. And overwhelmingly, the smell of the abattoir down below, the butchers, sort of overrides the senses here as well. So if there was anything in particular that was sort of, you know, if they, like, look, put it this way, the guy is probably, if he had much nice smelling stuff such as perfumes and things that were broken in the looting, you can't smell them. All you can smell is a slaughterhouse.
Does it look more like people seizing valuables, or does it more look like people looking for a person or where a person could be?
You can't really tell. Not without like a more thorough sort of look, right? Like, as far as you can tell, the place has been tossed. The extent of it, you know, it's hard to say. You're only sort of standing in the main room, and saying that this is a small apartment, there can't be more than 2 or 3 rooms. There's no way, and this is definitely was like this when Maynard got here. This Maynard has not had time to go full whirlwind of fury through this place. But yeah, people have clearly come through and not showing much care for what's here. A lot of the furniture and stuff has been raised. You can see, like the room that you've come into is like, say, a dining room. And the table's still upright, but all the chairs have been kicked out the way. There's a kitchen off to the side, and it's just got little alcoves with their head curtains hanging over them. You can see the curtains have been pulled down and things like that. The place has been been given a good once over.
Well, Lorenzo's just going to look around, see that, and think, well, they would have found this would have been the first place someone looking for a person that's gone into hiding would go, is their, like, known address. And he's just going to say, right, well, we're on the clock now. You've been followed here, Maynard. You got about a minute or 2 before some nosy buggers start coming up the stairs.
Yeah, Maynard's he's already walking through looking for some sort of living quarters, like a bedroom, you know. So he sort of goes through one of the small doors into the next room, and you can hear furniture moving about while he's in there. What's Victor doing?
I think Victor would be like, he would go up to follow Maynard into that room, more or less. Like, what were you thinking, man? You have clearly made a much larger scene than necessary. We're being followed. Someone wanted to know we were doing this. Everyone knows now.
He sort of goes into the room and he gets on his hands and knees, looks under the bed, which is already, you can see, being rifled through, picks up the mattress, looks underneath and goes, well, old boy, you said yourself we're being followed. They knew we were going anyway. No point trying to pretend we can make it hard for them.
They've clearly already found this place. What are you looking for?
He sort of looks around, like that. When you're talking to someone who's looking for something, and they're listening, but they're not looking at you when you talk or anything. So he sort of looks around a bit perplexed and goes, I don't know, something. We're sick of talking around, scratching our asses, talking, old boy. I'm a man of action. He sort of gets up, starts pulling out the drawers.
I can clearly see you are a man of action.
Seeing these two having a little verbal spar, Lorenzo's just going to say, we ain't got time to have an argument. Give the place a quick once over and then we got to scram. Oh. And then Lorenzo's just going to go for a quick look to see if there's anything, very quick look to see if there's anything that hasn't been touched or could be useful in the apartment. Pretty much he's going to give himself like 2-3 minutes and then he's going to want to leave immediately after that.
Yeah, I think Victor is mostly going to be tailing Maynard, seeing if he finds anything, and sort of keeping a lookout for himself as well. But he is not hedging his bets we'll find something.
give me a. Or is there anything in specific that Lorenz is looking for or searching? Otherwise, I'll get you to do a roll for a general sort of search.
He's looking for two things: documentation and or any items of religious significance, because that seems to be where things are at the moment.
Okay, so you're sort of digging around looking for stuff. And Victor's following around Maynard, his searching is almost seems random. He just seems to walk into a room, looks for the first thing that is obvious for him to look under and looks. Which, considering that you haven't got time to thoroughly search the place, is probably as effective a search method as any.
Yeah, I will say, if I see any letters, I will pick them up, but that's it.
One thing that Maynard is doing is every room he walks into, the first thing he does is look at the ceiling. He seems to walk in, look up. There's no obvious signs of iconography on the ceiling, so he then looks down and starts searching. And you all are noticing a distinct lack of literature, any writing, any texts, any books, any letters, anything. Now, not everybody is literate, but chances are a manservant of a wealthy family is, and especially one who's away from home, you'd expect would have some sort of correspondence with home. You'd almost expect to find this sort of thing. Matter of fact, you probably even find some writing supplies, but you don't find any writing.
Is there places where you'd expect to see, like, are there empty drawers or whatever that would have? You'd go, oh, this is where someone would keep their letters, or why is this drawer empty when the rest of this is pretty full of supplies, especially around where writing supplies are, right? You go, oh, this drawer is completely empty of papers, but this drawer's got paper in it, but this drawer next to it's got nothing in it. That would be weird.
There is one thing that stands out to you specifically, Lorenz, is because you're looking around for writing materials and religious iconography, you do find a small shrine next to the fireplace that's been tossed, but you find on the ground sticks of incense and things like that, and a small woodcut of Solarius in the traditional sort of Western way, presented not the way he's often seen here. And you find it, and then on the shrine, it's a pretty standard sort of thing that you're used to seeing in a lot of sort of middle class, lower class homes back home. There is a little drawer that you'd normally keep, the religious texts that exist. There are none there. They have been sort of vacated. And then it's hard to say where other things might belong, because anything that could hold something has been tipped out. The place has been given a pretty aggressive search, and you get the impression it's probably a pretty safe bet that there were writings of some type here. Could they even just be letters, accounts, whatever? They're all gone completely.
Having done that, he's going to say, right, I think it's time that we skedaddle.
And you mentioned there being no obvious signs of struggle here, right? It's just like someone has been turning this place upside down.
No, there's no blood. There's nothing broken that wouldn't be broken with the purpose of opening it. You know what I mean? There could have been a struggle here. The place is a fucking mess, but nothing obvious anyway.
Yeah, that's just what I wanted. There's no obvious sign of someone trying to defend themselves here or something like that. No. Victor would walk up to Lorenz after all. Not gonna find anything here.
Right, that's why we're leaving.
Maynard, let's go. You're not gonna find anything. Sorry.
Maynard's visibly upset. He's angry at the situation, frustrated. And he sort of, just walks outside and bangs the door shut behind him, which you see has been kicked off it's latch anyway, so it can't be shut properly. So he slams it and it bounces open again straight away. He's standing outside doing that thing where you're rubbing your eyes, like you know, like putting pressure on your eyes, and he's frustrated. He's clearly over it, but he's ready to leave.
Yeah. I think Victor gives Lorenz one of those looks you give when you know you have a friend who is clearly out of bounds. Like, oh no.
Lorenz just got a furrowed brow and he just shakes his head twice.
And he says to Lorenz, there's no good talking to him.
Well, I ain't talking out in the street anyway. We gotta get back to a place of relative quiet.
Yeah.
Especially we got tails.
I wonder. If there's anyone who wants to follow us, they will definitely be in the crowds here. Like, are there any people out about the place, or is it sort of relatively quiet?
There's people out and about. You guys are down here sort of early afternoon. It was around about lunchtime. We were at the bar, if I remember rightly. Listeners, sorry, it's been a month since we played, so
again,
time has warped somewhat. But,
details have fuzzed a little bit.
But it was, if I remember rightly, you went there slightly before lunchtime. It's like late morning, so we can assume it's around about midday, and the streets are alive. Not only that, there are people sort of lingering down below looking at what the commotion is. Like, there's people who've sort of noticed the strange looking, people running through the streets and slamming around and listening. There's like a bit of a what's going on here sort of thing.
If we got one moment, I'll talk to the butcher. Just if he noticed anything about his comings and goings. But honestly, I don't think it really matters that much. But he's going to pop his head round the lower level to see if there's the butchers in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the butcher, and it's a bit of a family business. There's like 4 or 5 people in there. There's a young guy who looks like he's probably the butcher's son. There's a few others as well, sort of working around the place. And there's one guy who's definitely the butcher, and we're talking like pre-hygiene standards. So here, the guy is just sort of exposed arms. He's covered in all sorts from butchering.
Stinks.
Stinks. Breezy hair that probably has never been washed. But he's got a big apron on, and he seems to be sort of dressing a pig at the moment. Who you want to talk to? Directly to that butcher?
If he's... I mean, it's a family business, so is it just him, or is his wife there, or is his son there? Or...
It looks like there's a couple of people who could be sons. One of them definitely looks a lot like him. There's another one there that could just be a helper, could be a son, could be another relative. It's hard to say.
I want to look and see, do any of them look pissed off that we've gone upstairs? Because I'm guessing it would be fairly obvious that we've gone upstairs. Or do they all look just like, oh, whatever?
Pissed off isn't the right word. Interested, curious, especially the younger ones. The younger ones are sort of, they've clearly sort of been talking, and they're both looking up towards you. They seem to be manning like a storefront, if you will, while the main butcher's behind them, clearly doing the majority of the big work. But yeah, when you walk around, they do sort of look up in a way of like, expectation.
Interest.
Yeah, interest.
This is the most interesting thing that happens in this boring job that they do, because it's a family business. Okay, I'll go up to the young ones then, and I'll be like, been looking for a friend of mine. He used to reside upstairs. Looks like he's gotten a bit of trouble. Do you remember hearing anything? Last time you saw him?
They sort of look amongst themselves, and they said, Why? What's going on? What's the Strasslander done?
Oh, he ain't done nothing. He didn't turn up. And so I've been looking for him. I'm wondering where he's got to. And I know he lives here, so we came running as soon as we heard that he's kind of got up and disappeared. And we thought this place has been trashed.
He disappeared? Is it like the priest?
What do you mean, like the priest?
The priest has disappeared? That's why you were here, isn't it?
No, this guy's one of my friends.
What's
I know his family back home.
What's Victor doing while this conversation's going on?
I was thinking about that myself, because he is considerably less patient than Lorenz is at the moment. So he might actually walk up and be like, "All right, gentlemen." Decided on that yet. Because if he was listening to that, he would obviously know that they obviously know something. Because they've been asking these. They know about the priest and they're fishing for something. They want you to tell you something. So I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't. But yeah, I actually think old Victor is going to walk up. He's looking at ignore Maynard for now as he stands there looking frustrated. And he hears you talking to the butchers and he sort of stumbles into the room and he's like, "All right. If any of you know anything and you're not telling us, you could go ahead. My friend here is playing nice. I'm not." And he sort of gives this generally unfriendly look to all of them. It's like, I don't have time for this shit.
With your intimidator 5.
I know. This is the problem.
This is one of the shortcomings of the Warlock system.
Yeah. You could, of course, use like mercenary captain instead, but I don't know. I've never liked that.
Lorenzo's just going to say, "Look, there's no need for any of this. If you know something, I'll give you some money, alright?"
Look, instead of mercenary captain, I'll make it mercenary, because I think the actual rank and file are probably a bit more intimidating when it comes to the general populace than the people in charge of it. But do a roll.
You should have just commanded them.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to sort of do that, but yeah. Let's see. I'm a fool and I try to do the most obvious thing, which is like, I don't like the idea of someone going to be like, you better do what I want. Like the kind of real like officer thing is like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
It worked for Maynard.
Yeah, so that's a 16 plus
10.
9.
So that's
10, yeah, so that's
pass.
perfect.
Yeah, they sort of look up at you and look at each other and like, they're sitting there a bit uncomfortable. And then the butcher comes over and sort of pushes them back behind him. And he goes, "We know nothing. There's nothing to know. Would you like to buy some meats? I have good meats."
It depends on what you have. But I think you're asking your son over there. It says your son over there obviously knows something. Otherwise, he wouldn't be asking about the priest.
I think you are a terrible liar.
Indeed. No one ever says we know nothing without knowing something. I've been into business long enough to know that, boy.
He sort of, you can see he's uncomfortable. He's very uncomfortable with this. He's trying to come across as big and intimidating, but you can tell he's intimidated. He sort of reaches down. He grabs what would they have wrapped meat up back then?
Probably
I'd say like wax paper, but
wax paper, cheesecloths, that kind of thing.
Beeswax paper. I don't know. That seems like cheese. Yeah.
So he grabs a bit of this cloth, and he sort of, you can see him just grabbing what looks to be sort of, back then it would have been fucking great shit. These days it'd be like, ugh, like some sort of general sort of sweetmeats, and throws them into this cloth, and he wraps it up, and he sort of holds it out to you, and his hand is slightly shaking, and he goes, please, we know nothing.
We'll always come back. And there's a...
Now,
Lorenzo's saying when he says that is like, we won't be quite so nice if we come back.
okay. Because I think Victor has an idea too here. Go ahead.
But I'll let Sean do the roll, because he's got the higher stat. Could you please do an appraise roll for me?
Because I have the feeling that like they're being very twitchy. I think this has happened more than once.
Yeah. I got 16 plus 12, which is 28.
Okay, yeah, the guy's clearly terrified. You notice that while he's holding this meat out towards you, and he's trying to have like a normal demeanor, he's not really looking at either of you. He's looking past both of you. Like glancing between you both quite regularly.
I'll sort of turn my head and sort of casually, as if I'm exasperated by the exchange, just like turn and look behind me, scan the crowd, and then look back. While doing that, I'll just be going,
Hope it isn't Maynard.
Yeah, hopefully it's not fucking Maynard. Meanwhile, Maynard just got stabbed.
No, when you look behind you, you don't actually see Maynard. You're not entirely sure where he is. But what you do notice is a group of about half a dozen of the red sashed mercenaries are further down the street, and they are watching you all quite intently. And there's like a peasant with them who seems to be talking and explaining things to them. They have the demeanor about them of, I don't know how I could explain this. They're just there. They're standing there. They're not making a move towards you, but they've definitely got their whole, my attention's been drawn to these guys over here sort of thing going on. There's more of them than you normally see patrolling around the place. It looks like it may be a couple of patrols having mixed up.
Looks like our friends have decided to make themselves known, Victor.
Indeed. And as you say that, because I saw that you're like giving you this look, I take out a coin from my pouch, and I give the butcher a coin as like, oh yes, thank you for the meat order, and I give it to him, and I take the meat in the bag, and I'm like, let's leave quickly.
Lorenz looks hesitant, like he's got another trick up his sleeve, but seeing the red sashes are already here, he's like,
we're not gonna have time to have a conversation at the moment. We need to get out of here.
As soon as you take the meat, the butcher fella is straight away like takes the coin, pulls his boys back, and gets them looking very busy. And he's clearly terrified.
Alright, time to find Maynard if he hadn't been arrested for being an idiot.
They probably saw them approaching and left.
Well, he's fat used to us at the moment anyway. Alright, best be off.
So how when you say best be off, you're just walking away casually? What are we doing?
I mean, this is the thing.
Lorenz is walking away looking thoroughly pissed off.
Yeah. I mean,
he's putting an act on. He isn't thoroughly pissed off, but he's looking thoroughly pissed off, like he went looking for something and didn't find it.
I mean, in the end, they know, we know, and we know they know. So I think Victor is just there like, gonna take, like, he's following Lorenz, looking like having one of his hands on the blade, and walks away, sees if they obviously follow, and because I'm not gonna go up and talk to them at the moment. So
go up and just stab one of them just for fun.
Now, This is not D&D, boy.
Just murder hobo, mate. Just murder hobo.
So you guys are walking off in the open.
In the direction of the what would you call it? Strassland House.
Okay.
Yeah.
So towards the nicer parts of town. Okay. Yeah, no worries. So you head off, and when you say you're watching to see if they follow you, like, are you being really blatant about that? Are you trying to be discreet about it?
I'm not, because I'm just presuming they're following us. I'm not, like, we've been spotted. Red set, as far as this operation is concerned, Lorenz is like, this one's done for now.
If any one of those folks want to have us followed, they would be following us. But I think they would still be like having looks, but
Nah, Lorenz isn't. Just Victor might be, but Lorenz is like, no, this one's been blown. So there's the obvious tail, which will be the red sashes, and then there'll be the discreet tail that's using the red sashes as, like, our attention will be on them. So Lorenz doesn't care at this point. He's going back to Strassland House.
And we at no point saw Maynard like at all now, right?
No, he's gone. So as you guys leave, they do follow. Not even hiding the fact they're just sort of following along behind you casually, with that comfort of someone who knows that they're swinging the biggest stick in the room, generally speaking. You know, they're sort of we're in charge, or at least we think we are, sort of vibe going as they sort of just casually follow you guys. They make no effort to come up to you. They make no effort to apprehend you or anything. They just follow you as you make your way back to the Strassland House. You notice as they go past other patrols and things, they stop and have a short sort of discussion with them, seemingly probably passing on information, getting them to pass on the word as to what's going on. But for the most part, they're sort of just observing and making sure that you behave yourselves, it seems. But seeing as you're making it straight back to Strassland's house, you get there soon, and you get to the front door, and you're in. When you get in, you note that they seem to just make themselves comfortable a bit further down the way, down the street. Just sort of park up and keep an eye on the house. To see your comings and goings. Well, at least half of them do. The other half wander off, quite possibly either sending word out, maybe getting help, or maybe even looking for alternative exits to the building to set up outside of. At the moment, you can see, we'll say 3 of them down the road, just sort of sitting around and looking slightly out of place. Strassland House is in a really nice part of town. And you don't get very many patrols through here. When you do, they're just passing through. They don't linger. They don't sort of loiter and rough the place up, looking rough or anything like they do in the poorer parts of town. But these guys are just sort of, planted ass, very openly. Yeah. All
right. So as we get in the door, Victor will look at Lawrence and be like, all right, this is not the kind of operation I usually run. What the hell are we supposed to do here?
Well, like I said, I've already got a contact I'm supposed to meet tomorrow, which has just been made considerably more difficult by Maynard. Hence why I've been trying to do things on the download to prevent picking up a whole bunch of attention too soon. So he's made that a lot more difficult for me. As far as what I think's going on, well, the way the tail that we roughed up behaved makes me think it's not some basic operation. There's considerable resources, people that have actually been trained in these sorts of things. a lot of this is just confirming what we might suspect. As for the state of Albrecht's apartment, well, he could have cleaned that out himself before he left, or he could have left without returning and someone's gone and cleaned it out for him. But I don't think he would have had anything other than what he knew anyway. It would have been unlikely to find anything. He's the more important part, not his writings. If he's a good manservant, he wouldn't be putting things down on paper anyway. But fools abound, unfortunately.
See.
Clearly referring to Maynard.
Indeed.
And let's just hope the fool hasn't got himself caught up in the sales somehow.
To be honest.
If he had any sense, he'd come back here. But
To be honest, if he finds himself in a cell, it's not too bad, would it?
he has his uses. He's a built in a china shop, and sometimes you need a built in a china shop.
That's true. But I don't know. I think we could do without Maynard for a few days. I might provide a reasonable distraction if he gets himself caught up with something. We'll see.
Well, that's what I was thinking. We could tell him to go pick a fight with the guards out in front of the house, and that would give me clear means to get out of here without having guards at least following me. I'll just have to watch out for the regular sort of tale.
Just have to find some local garb.
Well, I have some of those, but you might need to find something different.
What do you mean? This is clearly not so obvious, is it? Sort of looked at his clothes and I see your point. And then he looks at his beard and his hair and he's like... The problem with looking unmistakably mercenary is that you look unmistakably...
Unmistakably mercenary, yeah.
Down to the styling of everything. But yes. So if we stick around for a while, does anything happen, or do they just stay out these red sashes? Do they look like they just holding the posts?
How closely are you watching them?
I mean, just looking at the window every couple of maybe. Like, I mean, I would probably put away the meat sack somewhere. Maybe give it to the servants.
Throw it in the bin.
And
it's probably not very good quality meat. We got it from the rough part of town.
Yeah, my gift to the staff.
Next day, half of them come down with food poisoning.
You're like, ooh, liver.
Ooh, kidney.
Hey, liver is quite nice. But yeah.
Okay. And then after that,
I don't know.
but if you want to, you could post up and like straight up just watch these people. In saying that, like we're not talking tinted windows. They'd also see you watching them. So yeah. It's a double-edged sword, really. It's sort of up to you how you wanna run that.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, as we mentioned, Victor smokes, so we might just step out every once in a while and have a bit of a pipe smoke and have a look, trying to look not so obviously looking at them. He's just like hanging around, seeing if they're still there. But yeah, I mean, I think I think out of character, the best thing we can do at the moment is just wait for the meeting and get there slightly discreetly.
I could tell you
slightly discreetly.
Because you step out occasionally and have a smoke in an era where smoking inside was allowed.
I know. I was thinking about that too. But I was like, some people like the fresh air, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. It's a good reason to step outside, and it's definitely even back then it was a thing we could say. I tell you what, test your luck for me, please.
Shit. All right. What's my luck again? I have to check. My luck is 12. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a
pretty good.
success. It's a 23.
Okay.
So 11 plus 12.
So sure, you happen to be there outside at one point where you see another group of these reed sashes come up to the ones that are posted down the way, and there's someone with them who, well, there's two people amongst them actually that seem to have a different demeanor about them. It don't seem to necessarily be the same as the rest. The reed sashes, you see, all of them hold themselves a bit differently. They hold themselves with an element of authority. These new ones that have arrived, there's maybe 2 of these guys and then the other 2. What stands out as well is that the other 2 are mounted, or they were. You can see their horses nearby being held on one of the other red sashes. One of them is in quite a tidy outfit. He's sort of in casual dress, but you can tell that like yourself, it's a stripped down version of full plate. So he has a breastplate on, and things like that, and it's very tidy. He's got sort of a red sash, sort of not just worn over him as a sash. It's actually like a part of his outfit, like it's attached to his breastplate. So it doesn't go around his back. It's just on his front, and it's embedded onto the breastplate. And he's quite tall, and you can tell he's someone who's been raised on a pretty good sort of diet, and that he's nothing's off about this guy. He's definitely been well raised and well exercised and looks after himself. And the others are clearly deferring to him. But they're also deferring to this guy who's next to him, who cuts a very different figure altogether. This guy is clearly not a red sash. He's wearing mustard clothes. Sort of like, he's got, looks like a mustard sort of, I want to say shirt or a blouse, like it's quite balloony and flowy, with sort of darker colour pants and quite fine boots, very good quality boots, but heavily worn. And he has around his shoulders like furs that sort of just hang down a wee bit, the sort of furs you'd wrap to keep warm, but they don't sort of cover you up fully. And this guy is unmistakably Nissian. Like, this guy cuts a figure that just, he screams Nissian. He's not very tall. He's similar heights of Victor, actually. He's an older guy, 40s, 50s, it's hard to tell. He's got that well-weathered face that looks like he spent a lot of time out under the sun. So he could be 70 and looking very good for himself, or he could be a very old-looking 40. It's hard to tell. He's in that bracket somewhere. He's got a long moustache that sort of this droops down and hangs from his face in like a Slavic style, with a top knot sort of on the top of his head, like an undercut that's tied back, and he has a small little fur hat that he's wearing on top of it. And he has a number of badges, or maybe even medals, that he wears on his chest that sort of seem to identify him somehow. And whilst you're observing, the red sashes seem to be filling these 2 men in, like they're giving them sort of an update or a briefing. And he sort of looks over and sees you, and he just sort of raises a finger up to his head, like a lazy salute, and sort of nods towards you.
I actually think this is Victor would probably do the same, actually. Sort of he sort of takes off his pipe and sort of does that thing you do with a pipe when you somebody. And because this is the thing, I'm thinking like I want to talk to these people, but how ridiculous would it be to just approach them? Would be relatively, but I know. So what I think,
If you want to do it, do it.
this is the thing. I think Victor would sort of take his pipe and he would take it out and he's smoking. It's like, as he salutes him, he does that salute and he steps forward and he's like, he steps forward and he's like, how's... Because he knows the mercenaries, right? From his look, they know that he is. And he's like, how's work in this country these days anyway? Like, he greets them. And then he steps forward. It's like, the kind of typical question you would ask somebody. How's the beat these days? Clearly, like, trying to be friendly in a way that would be not necessarily strange, but like they know that they know. They know that they know. But he's ignoring that. It's like just asking a business question. Seeing how they react.
If they even let you approach.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not approaching like up to like knife's distance. Comfortable pipe.
You're gonna be like yelling across the street, essentially.
No.
They all of them. When you ask this question, all of the regular red sashes all look to the one in the fancier outfit. All of them just look to him, and he looks to the other guy. There's this clear hierarchy here where everyone's like looking up at this fella like, what do we do, boss? And boss is like, fuck, what do we do?
Excellent detective work.
The other guy sort of smiles, exposing stained teeth, and he goes, work is busy, is it not?
Oh yes, it's very busy. I've been thinking about bringing my own men in here soon. We'll see if you get competition in a while. I'm just here, really my own business here, which is why I'm staying at this house, is investigating how the business is going. And I saw you're some sort of commander. I thought, why not ask? Business to business. I've heard that there's lots of work. Seems like there's lots of busy work here to be done. You're clearly employed. And I give him a sly smile. I will also mention that I am definitely keeping them at a distance. But I'm also like, the way Victor is trying to sort of deport himself here is that he is clearly saying that, like, you can't just grab me now. Because he's still like, he could go in and cause a mess. It's not like they can just take him if they wanted to. Like he's showing a lot of confidence.
They're not going to anyway.
Yeah, I know, but he's like clearly like not being afraid. He's treating this as a friendly conversation of business, not like he's afraid.
We're in the midst of a Cold War. They're not going to grab someone from outside an embassy unless like it's the last play of the operation.
Yeah, probably not.
So the guy he turns back to the others. And he says something quite hushed. You can tell it's probably Nissian. And then he sort of steps towards you a wee bit. Again, he's not wearing any armor or anything like that. He does have a sword. It's one which is quite short, basic, not ornate in the slightest. And you can sort of not really tell because he's got this like sort of furred cloak on. It looks like he's probably also packing a pistol. Again, very basic. He walks towards you and goes, investigating. Well, let me welcome you to Svalsing. The name Victor, was it not?
Ah, yes. Erkenkrantz of the Fortunate Few. My company.
The Fortunate.
You've probably heard of us.
I'm afraid until several days ago I had not. But, my colleagues, he sort of indicates back behind him, they're more in your line of work, though I suspect perhaps that now you and I share more than you might think.
I see. These days, you mercenaries do lots of types of work, don't they? As I said, mercenary work is state's business, isn't it?
So, mercenary Oakenkrantz, who employs you?
Currently, I am cursorily employed by my country, but I'm more or less not. As I said, I'm thinking about moving my operation here to Svelsing.
Yes.
Not such a big...
I see. You've been doing some interesting inquiries to that effect.
Oh yes. It's no hidden notion that work is good here and that trouble is brewing. My general idea is, of course, that there will be business here soon. Don't you agree?
He sort of smiles, and you can see his teeth are rough. You could get the impression he too is probably a smoker. He's like, well, not if I can have anything to do with it. And as he's talking, he is slowly moving closer to you, not aggressively, just naturally in the course of the conversation. At any point, do you stop him or do you step back? Is there a certain distance you're maintaining?
No. Victor's not really afraid of this guy. He's keeping he's not necessarily backing away. So I would assume that he would be sort of asserting his distance in a way. He would be talking in that kind of way where he'd be like, don't come up to me to the closest distance. Like he's keeping. By the way he speaks, the voice, how loudly he talks, it's not like come talk to me up close to me, that kind of thing. Though if he wants to, he would let him have it. I don't think he's afraid of being stabbed.
So as he gets closer though, maybe we need 5 feet away or something, you can see that it's not actually a badge what you saw before. It's a brooch that's holding his cloak on, and it's a very ornate silver with gold inlay sun that's holding his cloak to his shoulders. And you can see on this guy's face, as weathered as it is, amongst this weathering is a bunch of scars. Not many, but a few small ones here and there. Not nasty, vicious sort of war wounds, but the guy's got like a bit of a... He's lived a life. You're now starting to think he's probably a bit older than you. And he's on the older range of what we said before, 50s, 60s, in there somewhere. And he's got like a deviated nose where it's been sort of smashed at some point or something. And he reaches into a pocket and pulls out a pouch, and he pulls out some sort of snuff, which he snorts. He's like, I'm conducting investigations of my own, actually, Mr. Oakenkrantz, and I thought perhaps you could oblige me some questions.
Oh. What kind of investigations? I don't usually do this in the street, however.
Not. Of course not. No. You would be welcome to come to me. I'm extending you an invitation.
Where would that be?
Well, it depends. Are you interested in discussing things? If you express if you have nothing to be guilty of, then you have no concerns. You are free to come and talk to me if your soul is pure.
My soul is pure. You know I'm a mercenary, right? Our souls are rarely pure. But I have no ill will towards you or the Nisians. It depends. What kind of thing? Is it work? Like, I'm clearly asking, like, what kind of thing is this? Investigations.
It's to do with it's work, I suppose you could say. It's much similar to you. You protect things, I protect things, we all protect things here. Sometimes we do the contrary. Look, if you would honor me with your company, come to the Imperial Palace, and you ask to speak with Koskov Ivanovich, Witchfinder.
The Imperial Palace, you say?
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't dare to deny such a gracious invitation to the place. However, these times. Sure, I'll turn up. We'll see.
Well, I really do hope that you do. And bring the slimy one with you as well, if you would. That would be appreciated.
Wow, he's talking about Maynard like that. How dare he?
Slimy one? You mean my assistant?
Yes.
It's quite.
To just be a conversation. 2 ways. Sharing of information. I'll get to know you, you get to know me. It saves Victor over there something to do. You just come. Make it easy. We can forget these games.
I don't like playing games, sir. We'll see about it. But if there's nothing else, I have business to attend to back at Streisand's.
He just nods graciously.
And I turn away and I leave. Nothing else happens if I leave?
You get shot in the back by a sniper on the roof.
Yeah, I would go inside and find you.
I'm writing a diary entry.
Alright. So, Lorenz. I was just invited to the Imperial Palace by some... What was his name? Ivanovich. I think he's the Nissian leader of the investigation. I don't know about this.
Wait, you did what?
No,
Pin goes down.
I was just making conversation. It's not like they don't know we're already here, and I didn't exactly tell them what we're doing. I made a business inquiry. And he invited me to the meeting. I know it's a setup, don't you worry about it, but it's quite an interesting thing for him to have done, I think.
Well, it's either 2 ways. He's either trying to... Look, first things first, before I... Describe his demeanour, describe him to me. God, if only I could have been there to appraise his...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have called you out, but it was more of a spur of a moment thing. But I think he seemed...
It's fine.
He's difficult to read. I didn't get a clear read of him, to be honest. I think he was difficult to discern if he was honest. I think...
There's a look on Loren's face like, no shit.
No. But this is the thing. To me... He didn't seem like a mercenary to me. I think he's doing state business. He's no regular sellsword. I know the type, and he's not the type.
He's saying he's a little bit like me.
He's a little bit, yeah. I don't know.
Loren sort of leans back, steeples his fingers.
So what would you do, Lorenz, if you invited me to your palace? Would you have me stabbed, or would you have me paid off?
It depends on how much they know and what their end goal is. If they're trying to incite something, getting rid of the investigators will definitely incite it. If they're afraid of what we might find, getting rid of the investigators would also be it. But if, like us, they actually don't know what's going on and they're trying to avoid something, then making that connection might be quite useful.
Well, I have a thought, and that is that if they want us paid off, it's good to give them the show that we are not, say, as loyal to the crown as they may think we are.
It's a risky business.
It is a risky business, but what is not a risky business here? I don't think we should just approach the Imperial Palace and find ourselves in a position of no return where we might be stabbed to death and no one would ever know. But finding this fellow at some later date and talking to him about things would not necessarily be the worst thing. I think he knows that we know that walking into the Imperial Palace is a very dangerous proposal, and he knows it. I know he knows it from the way he looked when he said it.
Again, the look of like, well, duh, crosses Loren's face.
Of course.
But there's also strength in turning up.
There is. There is a
It
certain...
could be a test. The problem is it worth your life?
Well, he said that you were supposed to be joining too, Lawrence.
Sort of scowls a little.
We're not just playing with me here. We're going all in if we're going all in. Oh.
We need a contingency.
He did say something quite interesting. He said that he's tired of games, though he does seem like a person who likes them.
No, he's saying that because he's talking to a mercenary who doesn't like playing games. He's telling you what you want to hear. If he's a little bit like me, his entire purpose is to play these games.
Perhaps.
But games to what end? If we have no means of guaranteeing our safety in there, then we shouldn't go.
I agree. We have no safeties, and going in could just mean that we get ourselves locked up and killed. Worse. It's an interesting proposal of his now, isn't it?
It's a great move. I'm gonna give him credit for that.
Honestly, I don't know what to do with it. If Maynard was here, he would probably tell us to go there and stab him or some other foolishness like that, but he isn't here, so maybe we should take more cautious an approach.
What was this fella's name?
His name
Koskov.
His name was Kosko Ivanovich, I think it was. Ivanovich, yeah. Son of Ivan. Probably not that one.
Well, I don't think it changes our immediate plans. We got this meeting tomorrow morning.
Ah, yes. I think we should go see them, and if let's say we have, this might give us an opening as well. If we ever find ourselves in trouble, we could just say, oh, well, we're here to talk to Kosko Ivanovich. And, of course, talking to Kosko Ivanovich is going to... They might think that we have valuable information, and offering it freely is better than offering it during torture, so... something. But yes, let's go see the man tomorrow.
I would be inclined to go if we had a means of...
Oh yes, I certainly agree. If there's a chance of us getting out of there with our lives, I think we should go and have this little talk.
Maybe
I'd be more confident if I'd been there when I was discussing it.
Sorry, what were you saying, Liam?
Maybe only one of you goes. The other one's the rescue force.
Who's the more competent rescue force?
Yes, break into the Imperial Palace. Way to start a war there, Liam. That whole thing we're here to avoid doing.
Suddenly, we are recording 3 different sessions. Your sessions, my sessions, Charlotte's sessions. No.
I think we talk to the ambassador, see if he knows anything about this fella, and if there's a way he can get us raise the stakes of getting rid of us, so to speak.
Yes. That's the thing you could do. Of course, we could have the ambassador accompany us, perhaps. You can't just grab people from underneath the nose of the ambassador without repercussions. But that has other problems. I told him that I'm here looking for work for my company, and that would clearly be... I probably since a lot, to be honest, but...
It's a thing you say so that... Because you can't come outright and say it, so you give a means. It's fine. He doesn't care about what reason you give.
Reasonable enough. Well...
Especially when you're so easy to read, Victor.
What? I've been... okay. You know, I give an honest proposal, and if you're not interested in it, fuck you. That's my kind of business. This is up to you.
Right.
Says the man who has a 12 in negotiation. Well, anyway.
So yes, I think we quickly check in on the ambassador. We've got nothing else to do this afternoon. Maybe Maynard turns up, or maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't turn up, we've got other things to worry about.
Yes. Let's have this meeting with our contact.
And then I've got to find a way of getting out on the street unnoticed.
Yes.
Problems within problems.
Oh yes. I mean, in the end, there's one simple way of doing it. We could leave separately, and I make a show of doing it, and you don't.
If this guy's got any chops at all, he'd have told his guards on watch to look out for such things.
Yes, of course. But, you know, a great man once told me that the most obvious deception is the best one. Because you don't expect it. Or you expect it so much so that when it comes, it's in such plain sight you can't even see it. But... I don't know, that was some military strategist. It might not apply here.
Alright, I think we're off to see the ambassador.
Sure thing.
Again. Just daily meetings with the ambassador.
It does seem to be, I mean, that's very much the reason he exists as an NPC. He's the fallback information guy. So yeah.
Literally.
He's like, hey, you're the guy on the ground. We're newcomers. We don't know shit about this guy. Or, we've got 2 reasons to talk to him. It's not like we're going, hey, we did this one thing. Give us an update. It's like there's several things we're trying to get out of him.
Absolutely, yeah. So the guy's name's Adolf. You ask to go talk to Adolf. It takes some time, but eventually you are shown through to his office. He looks stressed. He looks quite concerned. He appears to be drinking when you walk in. And when he sees you, not like on it, but like, he is having a nip. And when he sees you, he's got this weird juxtaposition of being grateful that you're here to talk to him, yet at the same time not wanting to see you. As you walk in, and
it's like, oh good, they're still alive, but at the same time, god damn this problem.
So he goes, as you walk in, he's like having a sip of, you seem to be brandy or something. He's like, He swallows and goes, oh good, you're here. And he walks towards the window and just points out and goes, are they your doing?
They're Maynard's doing.
Mainly Maynard, yeah.
And where is our Lord? Where is he?
He seems to have got himself distracted in lower.
Well, hopefully, for the sake of everyone in this building right now, he is just off, balls deep in a chambermaid somewhere, and we can forget about it. If he's off doing what I think it is that you have all been doing, and kicking the hornet's nest and seeing what falls out, then you know what happens to people like me when wars start, right? There's not, we don't tend to have offspring anymore. Like, that's ends of family trees. Stop. And he just has another drink.
You know, I've been having the exact same feeling ever since I knew Maynard was going to be on this little mission.
Don't you blame him. You all in this together. You all sit here to me and you've become my burden. All of you.
All right. Burden. What would have happened if we weren't here? But yes, let's forget about that for now. We have important business. Lorenz, you'll deal with this. Could I have a drink, Ambassador? I'm quite tired of this shit as well, to be honest.
Lorenz looks like he's dealing with children. He's like, look, Victor over here had a little run-in with a Nissian.
Ah, yes, Dad.
Koskov Ivanovich. Well, Koskov.
Koskov, what's his name?
Koskov. Looked like maybe the one from Nissia that's reporting back. Certainly had all that sway over the Red Sashes. Invited us to the Imperial Palace. We have a mind to go. But there are obvious risks.
He like listens to you talk for a while, and he has this, like, when you say Oskov, he gets a look on his face like that sounds familiar. And
Koskov Ivanovich was his name, by the way.
Yeah.
They're called.
He sort of starts pulling out paperwork and sort of leafing through it, like a journal that he's kept. Looks like a journal. It's got lots of handwritten notes in it. He's leafing through it. He's like, could you describe this man?
He was old, slightly scarred, visible signs of fighting in his life. Had the clear confidence of someone who knows what he's doing. Well fed. Extremely healthy for his age. Could be anything between 50 and 65 to 70. Big moustache in the style of what that, like you said, that was a Slavic style, by the way. I said that because does that stick out?
I said that so because I knew you would know what a Slavic moustache looks like, the player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something which is very Eastern in fashion. Absolutely.
Okay, because I was thinking like it's either that or he has like he is a Nissian, but he has a sort of this country's style of facial hair, which
it's quite openly Nissian.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's clearly a Nissian, and he had a strange mix of what we would call, he seemed both humble and extremely confident. He didn't have extravagant clothes, but he had that thing where you know he's important. Bad teeth as well, if that ever shows something too. Snuff. It did take some sort of weird thing as well. It's possible too. That's important too.
Yeah, he sort of flicks through his notes. He's okay. Well, what did he want?
He wanted a meeting to discuss business, and he was quite open about the fact that he wanted some information, sort of tit for tat kind of thing. As I understood it. Said that he is doing some investigations of his own. He's clearly making the play that he knows what we're doing, which is not surprising.
But it also, as I'm sure you're aware, raises the question of perhaps they don't quite know what's going on either, and they're worried about things spiraling out of control too.
Indeed, I have a good guess that the Nissians are not as actively interested in creating a conflict as we may imagine.
What aspects of Nissia? We can't speak for all of it, we know very little.
We all know from experience that the Nissians don't want war. Not traditionally. There must be people working in Nissia to hold whatever new aggressive element at bay. There must be somebody, right? If this person, this Costco, is part of that little faction, maybe we can find ourselves a friend here. Very dangerous and risky friend, but perhaps. Who knows?
So, he wanted to meet you to exchange information?
He wanted to ask me a few questions, and he was a sort of friendly offer. My idea at the moment, perhaps to have the meeting somewhere else than the Imperial Palace, if possible. Stepping into that place, for obvious reasons. But I don't know. He's clearly working the Niscient's perspective here.
Adolf looks quite put off by all of this. He's going through, like, he's clearly, like, kept the ledger of the who's who of Svalsing, and he can't quite figure out who this guy is. Going through it. He basically explains this to you, and he explains that he'll get his people in the palace to look into it, ask around, find out who this guy is. You can tell Adolf is quite uncomfortable at not knowing who this person is, because it's his job to know who everybody is. So this guy turning up is clearly a bit of a spanner in the works, so to speak. After a while, he asks you, like, he says, "I'll look into it. I'll let you know. Give me a day. I'll find out who this person is."
Also, I got a meeting tomorrow morning with von Hoffman's manservant. Now, part of the deal that got him willing to come out of the woodwork, out of Iden, so to speak, is that we get him out of this place and back home. So, gonna need that arranged.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I'll just put him in the tunnel underneath this house and he can fucking walk back. How am I supposed to do that?
Put him on a boat. That's all you really got to do.
He just sits back and he's just... Right. Okay. Well, I hope it's worth it. I hope it gives you something.
It's the price we pay sometimes. It's cheaper than war, though, isn't it? I give him a look like I'm very disappointed that he's getting pissed off about this really small thing.
I have the feeling that this old ambassador is having trouble he's supposed to have.
Opinion of ambassador keeps plummeting. It's getting worse and worse.
The guy signed up for like a high status posting, and then you fellas have turned up. It's like,
in a hotly contested region. Like, he's its own stupidity at this point. He's obviously gotten promoted above his station.
I got myself appointed to ambassador of Myanmar, and there's problems. What? No.
Why couldn't I get the Bahamas or something?
You really must hate a guy to give him that position in life. Yeah.
So he's like, okay, so is there anything else I have to pull out of my bag of tricks for you all, or?
I mean, the meeting tomorrow is supposed to be held in secret, and we're being tailed by these bloody red sashes, so that might be a problem.
Got any deliveries? Any delivery wagons you got coming and going from the house tomorrow morning?
We get deliveries every day. We also have a tunnel that goes down into the sewers.
But you actually have a tunnel, huh? Okay. I thought that was a joke.
Only partially,
Oh, well.
good boy.
Oh no, he said good boy. Oh no.
Not old boy.
No, it's good boy, not old boy. Different.
Good boy, man.
Oh well, that's exciting. I thought those things only existed in the plays and stuff. Oh well, this is fun.
We had it built when we got here. Brought in the workers from home. Getting rid of the soil and the rocks was quite hard. It's not glamorous, not tidy, not clean, but
You see some sort of like boyish joy at this from Erkenkrantz. He's clearly like, this is fun.
I'm on an adventure.
For once in his life, he's like actually surprised at something. He's like, oh, great. But yeah, he's like, oh, and then suddenly it sort of wanes and he's like, oh, right. Sorry about that.
Well, that'll do.
I guess I'll have to get out of these.
Well, you'll need 2 sets of clothes, because if you're walking around covered in sewerage, they're going to put 2 and 2 together when they eventually find us.
Well, I mean, it's not like the sewers is all sewage. I hope.
It's a sewer. It's all sewage.
yeah. Adolf was like, I probably wouldn't take anything with you that you value.
Well, if I'm gonna make a show of being a shitty and grimy person, I might as well smell a little bit, huh? Adds to the fun. Could you find me some clothes my size? I can't be bothered. I don't know. I don't go clothes shopping all that often. It'll be fine.
I don't think we have to bother the ambassador about getting clothes. There's plenty of people in this place that can do that, Victor.
Some of his people. I will figure it out. Clearly been drinking too much of this brandy. I'm sorry.
No, that would be about it, I think. Unless, Victor, your brain can come up with anything else.
My brain is as docile as ever. Let's go.
All right, so we can assume that you can find a set of clothes, this basic clothes, somewhere in the embassy. I won't sweat that one. So what is your plan at this point? He'll have someone show you how to get down to the sewers and act as a guide to a point. But yeah, beyond that, what is it you're wanting?
I mean, I assume we want to get to the meeting through the tunnels as to be less obvious and get to the meeting point and have the meeting, trying to be as discreet as possible.
Wait for any news that Maynard turns up.
Yeah, wait for news of Maynard and see where he's been Maynarding it up.
Probably leave instruction for him that we're chasing a lead if he turns up, just so that he doesn't go back out into town. And it'll be like discretion was required, so chill for a bit. Old boy.
Okay, so actually in the morning, there is a number of developments that sort of await for you.
Of course.
Throughout the evening, at some point overnight, the Red Sashes decamp. They stop hanging around, they move on. You don't know exactly when. You guys were asleep at this point, but they packed up and left. You have no doubt that just because the visible observations gone, there's probably still eyes on the embassy. But the intimidation aspect is at least been removed for now. There is also waiting for you when you get up a note. A young boy arrived at dawn with a note written in very eloquent Strasslandian text. No doubt written in such a way that it would be impossible to read for the boy, but also quite hard to read for anyone else who wasn't fluent in the dialect. And all it said was, Inquired at gate. The lady left with a merchant looking into it. M written on it. That's all it says. But other than that, it is free to go. You can do whatever it is you wish at this point.
The lady left with the merchant.
At the gate. Which gate would we know that to be? Because he's clearly meaning that to be. It would be the eastern gate, the gate that all the. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's either in the city or he's left the city. Or he's chasing up where the merchant came from.
Oh, he's straight out chasing after.
Well, I mean, he's doing what he says he was here to do. And his trail is going to be a lot easier to follow. He is not discreet. Put it this way, he's a heat-seeking missile and we can see his smoking trail just like from miles away. If we have to chase after him, he's going to be easier to find than her. So, yeah. But we've got a meeting this morning anyway. So we can't do anything about it until after that.
Let's get to it.
Well, the real question is, do we want to leave via the sewers or not? Because now there's just unseen tails. Do we come back via the sewer? I think we leave via the sewer anyway, don't we?
We don't need to come back via the sewer. Come on.
No, it was either one or the other. We either leave via the sewer, come back normally, or
we leave by the sewer and come back normally. I think Victor is not going to be too keen on going back after we've been there once.
Yeah, his excitement at, oh boy, there's a tunnel under the, is going to end the second he's like, oh god, it stinks.
Now, you're showing the way down. You go into a cellar and it's a very small hole. There is no way either of you will fit through this hole wearing any form of armor.
It's fine.
Lorenz doesn't have armor. He's just got his regular weapon that's fully acceptable to be carrying around in the city. Maybe he's actually picking a pistol this time though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing here. I'm not carrying a pistol because if you're going through the sewers, it's just as likely to be ruined as anything else. So.
I'd be wrapping the waterproofing of, like, he doesn't have it set up to fire right now. He would have to load it once he gets out of the sewer.
Yeah. I'm carrying a nondescript sword and
okay.
That's it.
So you squeeze your way down to the sewer, and it is a sewer. Like, they've got a very heavy sort of panel that they stick over top of it. When they pull it back, immediately you can smell it's a fucking sewer. And you squeeze your way down, and it sort of drops you down onto the side of a small tunnel. You have to hunch over to get in there. The guy who's waiting for you, he lights a small little lantern. He keeps the flame very dim. he's and it's a sealed, like it's a relatively sealed one, to try and avoid any open flames or anything too open. And he's like, right, so where you want to come out?
Insert forgotten name of tavern that no one can remember.
As close to that as possible.
Just sort that out in editing. Correct our mistakes.
Indeed.
I keep thinking pig and whistle, but I know it's probably not pig and whistle.
He's like, you've got the docks. We can go to the docks. We can go to the old graveyard. What do you want?
Well, we know there's a lot of red sashes around the dock, so let's do the graveyard.
Graveyard sounds like Fine. That'll
Might be, should be a bit dead.
Sorry.
Look, it's taken how long? I've been really good. It's been like an hour and a half.
Right, so he leads you a ways down this tunnel until he gets to like a T section. It's a general downhill slant, and you can tell that it's relying on gravity to carry the sewage towards the river, basically. And it's there is flowing water through here. It's not like it's just shit, but there is shit and runoff and things like that.
It's pretty shit.
And it stinks. It's quite nasty.
Smells like Maynard.
He's like, right, okay, look, this is as far as I go. You head that way, and you're looking for the second left. Once you get to that second left, you go on up there. It'll spit you out just inside the cemetery, right inside the walls. You just go that way. And after that second left, it's about 50 feet. Once you go up there, 50 feet, you'll see a bit of a crack. Squeeze through there, wiggle your way up. It's not the nicest. You'll get to a heavy stone. It's pretty hard to move, but you push it and you'll get out. And that's the way you get out. Make sure you close it behind you.
Which side's the crack on?
Left. This looks like a normal crack in the rock. We've just widened it, taken out a few bricks.
Got ya. Right, thanks. We'll take it from here.
He sort of heads back. It's pretty easy instructions to follow. So, assuming you do want to follow them, you head down the path. There's rats and things down here. The smell is bad. The water is not flowing super great, but it's one of those things where as you get closer to your destination, it's less, around the cemetery and stuff is actually less populated, so there's not that much going on here. And then you manage to find a spot where, there is a bit of a collapsed path to the side of the tunnel, and it is a struggle, especially because if I remember rightly, Victor's a bit portly. Is that right? Would you describe Victor as being a bit portly?
Yeah, he's not. He's still like fit enough, but he's definitely going stouter with age.
He's got the beer belly. So it's a bit harder for him. And it's one of those things where there's no way you're keeping your clothes clean. Now, you're not going through a sewage pipe. It is just literally like a bit of a tunnel that they've...
We'll just end up looking pretty dirty.
It's going to come out looking dirty, yeah. But you make your way through this tunnel.
That's pretty good disguise.
You make your way through this tunnel, and then there is a very heavy sort of stone that takes a bit of effort to brace yourself and push up, and you're able to move it. And then it spits you out into a crypt. A small crypt holding what looks to be 6 berths. 5 of them appear to be occupied. It's very minimalist architecture in here. There's not lots of showy stuff going on or anything like that. There's an inscription on the wall, and that's about it. And then there is a small door leading out into the main graveyard.
We roll the door closed behind us.
As we said.
I'm going to leave that open, yeah. Peer out the door to see if there's much movement out there.
Perfect. Test your luck, please.
My wonderful luck of 6. Natural 20.
Natural 20.
Well,
26.
look at that.
The cemetery is dead quiet.
Nice.
Not a soul to be seen.
So, unfortunate.
Enough of this ghoulish humor.
Yeah.
Pop on out, make my way to a grave a little distance off from the crypt and just do a prayer and then stand up, dust myself off, and start heading towards the exit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Again, much like when you were seeing the Solarian church previously, you do notice lots of small differences in iconography here. The moon normally is shown as like a crescent moon, and it's shown sort of more or less vertical. Here it's much more sort of almost horizontal, like a smiley face in a way without the eyes. A smile basically, but with other like some stars over it and things like that. Like the iconography is a wee bit different. But cemeteries are cemeteries, man. They tend to have a sort of feeling to them, and this one's no different. You sort of make your way through it, and soon it spits you out. And where you exit it is to the south of Strussland House, and you can make your way quite comfortably from here towards the market, where the inn is. You're fairly confident at this point that because you've come this way and the way everything's worked out, you haven't got a tail. No one knows you're here. You're pretty certain that you're flying fairly under the radar, and it helps that Victor's not walking around looking like a soldier.
And also helps Maynard's probably not with us as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
So you make your way back to the bar, back towards the bar. Now, this is where my memory is really struggling.
Yeah, I can't.
The agreement was for you just to sort of meet there, right? Was it in the marketplace outside?
We were going to meet at
Or it was in the alleyway behind? I can't remember.
Okay, so let's say this. What is the most scenic and interesting?
You had your initial discussion in the alleyway, so maybe it would make sense it would be in the alleyway again.
Yep, that's good.
Which stinks of piss.
That's right, yeah. So you make your way there.
I remember the alleyway.
Yeah.
You make your way back to the alleyway. When you arrive there, there's no one really there. The place seems empty. What do? Do you go into the bar and get a drink? Do you hang around? What's your plan here? How are you presenting yourself? Bearing in mind that, you know, if there was a place to be observed, you'd expect, well, you know, last time the bar was being observed. So, if you're wanting to be discreet, now's the time to explain how you're doing that.
Well, we look very different. Last time, the people that were making a scene in the bar was Maynard and Victor. Lorenz was out back, so he wasn't. From remembering the way it went, Lorenz was pretty separate to the scuffles that took place in the bar.
Yeah, you were mostly just having a bad conversation with somebody, I remember.
Yeah. So it would be unlikely for anyone other than someone, like, he'd be the least likely to be recognized, especially by those regulars that were at the bar that caused so much trouble last time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to remember, would it be suspicious if he just opened the back door, peered in quickly, and then closed it again?
Get into the bar.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Like, how obvious would it be that door opens?
Depends on someone's looking that way or not. I mean, it's pretty quiet, which sort of works for and against you. It's quiet so that the people who are in there are more likely to notice something happening, but there's not a lot of eyes to notice stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend to be drunk, open the door quietly, but just have a look on my face like, oh, this isn't where I wanted to come in. Like quickly looking around being like, oh, this isn't the right place, and then just turning around and closing the door again.
Okay. You look in.
So it's kind of like, oh, I've come into the wrong house, sort of
It's
thing.
much like it was the day before. You've got the same sort of people who are propping up the bar as they do every day, right? It's got that vibe to it. There's a few other sort of people around the place. It's maybe sort of 24 people all up. No one really standing out to you. The group that you saw the day before, which are the ones that put you onto Albrecht, you don't see them.
Okay. I just close the door and put back in the alley. I say, ain't seeing anybody. Well, we're here. Time is a thing. They might be a little late. Gotta give them a little bit of wiggle room.
Sure.
So Lorenzo's looking a little perturbed.
Well, much to do but wait in that case. Unless they turned up and were taken, then we'd have to ask around to find out.
So, you're gonna wait for a wee bit, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little
So
bit.
you wait for a wee bit, and after a while, the door to the bar opens, and the guy from the day before comes out. And he's got that whole trying to look discreet thing, and as a result, not being particularly discreet. He sort of got his jacket sort of pulled around him and stuff. He sort of comes out, and he looks around, and he's like, "Were you followed?"
I can assure you, no.
Right, okay, look, follow me. He sort of makes his way off down the alleyway. You go with him?
Yeah, but I'm saying, look a little bit more casual.
He's
Sticking out like a sore bloody thumb.
He's like, yeah. And he sort of jostles his collar, but otherwise everything looks exactly the same. He goes up to another door just slightly down the alleyway as it's nearing the street, and he sort of looks around a bit, and he opens the door and sort of steps in.
Loren sort of gestures for Victor, like, by all means, go first. Take the first hit if it's an ambush.
I'm thinking about that scene in Seven Samurai now. That's a different thing. I'll step in, trying to see, like, basically that thing where you're taking a look around the corner as you're walking in to see if there's anything to react to. But yeah, I'll step in.
You okay, I need a really quick answer from you here then. You step in and you look around the door, and behind the door is someone. He's just got like a basic shirt on, sleeves rolled up. He's looking filthy as fuck, not much similar to you. Pants, doesn't look at all like a soldier, but he's wild-eyed, like absolutely wild-eyed, and he's actually leveling towards you, like a blunderbuss sort of thing. And his hands are sort of shaking. But when he sees you, just sharpen, take a breath, and his eyes open really wide. I need to know exactly what Victor does in this moment. Like, in his first reaction, we're talking like a second of activity here.
How far away is he?
A couple of feet. In the corner of the room. So as you walk through the door, he's in the corner off to your right, on the blind side of the door as well. So it's as you walk around the door, you look, and he's there seemingly waiting for you.
Okay. If I see it, I will just sort of drag my body out of the door. So like I step in and then I immediately step out. I think that's the way, because like I'm not gonna step into a shot. That's stupid. So yeah, I think I'll sort of throw myself backwards.
Okay. You throw yourself backwards. There's no bang. As he throws himself backwards, what is Lorenz doing?
Looking down either side of the alley.
You see nothing.
So you probably bumble into me.
Yeah.
As you come out.
Yeah, so Victor slams back into you. And as he does, you get one moment to quickly say something, Victor. What do you say?
Like, blunderbuss! There's a man. One of those two. There's a man with a blunderbuss.
As you say that, a hand reaches around the door and pulls it open, coming from the direction where the man was. And he sort of steps around it, shakily pointing it towards you, holding onto it with one hand. So he's struggling here. It's sort of drooping down. And he's like, "Who the fuck are you? What do you want?"
Fuck's sake.
As I said yesterday, to talk, you bloody idiot. put that damn thing down.
He sort of leans out and looks up and down the hallway, down the alleyway, and you see him sort of like, fuck, come in, fuck. You know, he goes back into the room.
Lorenz just confidently walks in.
I think Victor, after he gets up, he goes up to him and sort of takes the blunderbuss away from him because he's obviously.
If you approach him, he raises it towards you quite forcefully.
Lorenz just put his hand out to Victor to be like, settle down.
Okay, I was thinking that if he's like that shaky, he would be like, it would be pretty easy to just walk up to.
Nah, he's very much down, like okay, all of his confidence and courage is in that gun. Like it's everything he's got.
All right. All right.
Who the fuck are you? Right? Are you one of them fucking red sash cunts? Is that it? Are you one of them?
We look like red sash
you
cunts.
You look like something. What are you? Hey?
We're from Strussland House, like I said. We can get you out of this place if you tell us what we need to know about Hoffman.
And how do I know you're not going to fucking turn me in? If they're after. Like,
do I look like I came all this way down here? Look, smell me. Smell. Look at me. I made a lot of effort to get here without being noticed. If I wanted to turn you in, I would have just fucking turned up here with a bunch of fucking red sashes because I knew when you were gonna be around this area. I'd have grabbed your bloody friend, I'd have beaten him to a pulp, and I'd have said, take me to your fucking friend or you're dead. Now you listen, put that fucking thing down before Victor Air goes and shoves it up your ass.
Okay. Roll command to the school.
I'm a mess. Yeah, I'm doing an assignment. I'm rolling suboptimally.
I could give you a help with a stern look.
I don't think help is a thing in the system, unfortunately. Command, right? Yeah, +5. This will be my really horrible roll for today. I get shot with a blunderbuss.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a natural 1.
Oh wow.
Okay, no, he only gets one go at that. So he's gonna be like, get on your fucking knees right now, both of you, and the gun's swinging between you wildly. On your fucking knees. I need to know you're from fucking. You can see he's scared shitless. Now's your moment to try and convince the man. Are you getting on your knees?
I want to look him up and down and try and see, because he's a nervous wreck, what sort of reassurance he'd want. Like whether going along with him, it's that whole thing where like, oh, I get down on my knees, and it doesn't satisfy him, you know, or whether that's just going to be enough. What sort of how much convincing is he going to need? Essentially, is what I'm looking for. Do I need to play along to calm him down, or does he need to be like hit with more hard truth, or does he just need to be smacked on the head?
Roll an appraise roll.
$20.
Okay. He wants to believe you, right? But he doesn't. That's the thing. His fight or flight is up to here. But you can tell he desperately wants to believe you that you're his way out of here.
Lorenz will just sigh and say, look, take some deep breaths. Don't do anything stupid. You shoot us, you ain't getting out of here. You shoot us, everyone will know where you are.
Is Victor, and is either Lorenz or Victor getting down on their knees? I can tell you right now, your appraise suggests he is close to shooting someone.
Okay, then I'll get on my hands and knees. But like doing that whole, I'm very calm, like he's not rattling me. It's just like one of those things where I'm dealing with a frightened animal, essentially. This is the attitude Lorenz has got.
Because he can't shoot both of us anyway.
It's a blunderbuss. It's one shot.
And blunderbusses aren't that bad. And
Until they shoot you.
here's the thing.
None of us are wearing armor.
Here's the thing. Historically, they're kind of shit. But that's a different matter.
I mean, it's
entirely.
probably going to blow up in his face, to be fair.
Yeah. In any case, like, I think if you get down on your knees, I think Victor's gonna stay at the back of the room and be like, "We have no interest in. We're here to get you help. Calm down, and we'll have the discussion. There's no need for this."
I'm fucking serious. I'll fucking blow you. You get down now. Get down. Oi, you. Oi, clever fella. Tell your friend to get down. I don't want to fucking. I don't want to. You know, you'll make me do this. Don't make me do this.
Lorenz rolls his eyes and just goes like, gestures down with his hand. For
Fine, for fuck's sake. And he sits down on the ground.
Squats, does a Slavic squat.
Nah, he goes down on his knees. But in a position where you could still get up quite quickly.
So he's like, okay. Right, okay, alright, okay, alright, okay. So, what the fuck do you want with me?
Lorenz, you handle this one.
We want to know what happened to Hoffman. What was happening in the household before he disappeared and his wife left or was taken. We've already spoken to the cook. We've already been around and had a look at the place.
Was it you that tossed it? Was you that fucking tossed it, wasn't it?
No. We've come all this way from Strussland. We've only just got here. We've been here 3 days.
Well, how are you gonna get me out? What's your plan? I need to know the fucking plan.
You're coming to the Strussland house and we're putting you on a boat.
They'll be watching Strussland house. They'll be watching that. If I go there, they'll fucking know I'm there. And I won't leave that place alive.
You're not a big concern for them anymore.
I'm not. Have you seen my fucking house?
Yes,
They're chasing bigger fish. You're a tiny fish. Now that we're here, they're focused on us. We get you into that house. You're home free. You wait there a couple of weeks. They put you on the boat. They'll have forgotten all about you. I guarantee it. It always ends up this way.
I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. Why the fuck should I help you? I've been doing it right on my own. Here you are.
Lorenz looks around at the place, looks him up and down, quirks an eyebrow and goes, "You're not lying to anyone."
I think Victor will actually have laughed at that, by the way.
When you do, a shaky barrel
He said
is
it is-
pointed towards you. Don't fucking laugh, fat man.
If this is your idea of doing alright, I don't know what doing alright is. Okay? We can get you
But
home to your family.
As far as I'm concerned, we're your only hope. We walk out that door, it'll be maybe a week before they find you.
And if
maybe.
you follow us, you can get home to your family safe.
So you're trying to say to me that I'm not important, that they're not looking for me, and that I'm nothing. But at the same time, they'll find me in a week's time.
A week's time or 2 weeks, you're not a big problem. Because you'll be in Strussland house, they can't get to you, they'll forget about you. It's all blow over. Use that brain of yours, you know it's true.
Nah, they fucking.
Do you want to keep living like this? Or do you want to go home to your family and see your
I'd
children?
like to keep living.
Your-
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's what I'd quite like to do. All right, both me bosses is gone. Both of them. One of them.
Yeah, one of them, huh?
Well,
Tell
I
us.
don't know where he is. He's gone. No one's seen him. One of the most famous people in this fucking city. Gone.
You have no idea where to?
Of course I fucking don't. Why would I know where he is?
You've been living with this man for how long?
Right. And then he upped and disappeared. Right. Same night his wife did too, frankly. It's all a bit... Oh, fucking... Look. You get me out of here. You fucking promise?
Yeah. Of course.
Absolutely. It's what we do.
Honestly, man, it's your best shot. And I look straight into the barrel of the gun as I say that.
Alright, so... I'll have a persuasion roll. I believe Sean's got the higher persuasion. Yes, he does by a lot.
Yeah.
I do feel like the 20 has to be represented somehow, though. The 1, sorry. I'm just not sure how it would in this circumstance. Let's make it a negative 4 to the roll. Right, so that means you're adding 8 instead of 12 for your persuasion.
Okay. 11.
Is that including the 8?
Yeah, like that's the roll plus. I always read my things out as plus. It's not a fumble. It's just a fail.
His friend is like, Albie, mate, I don't feel good about this. And then he's sort of looking at you both, and you guys are still on your knees. He starts sort of going around you towards the door that you've come in through. He's like, look, I tell you what, how about we just fucking forget it? I'll go my way, you go yours, and we'll fucking leave it there, alright?
Snap decision. Victor will be like, if you leave this place, I'll make a fucking ruckus and they will find you in a day, Bowie. You better come back in and talk to us. Now! Otherwise you're gonna have to kill us. And you're not killing both of us quickly. Better come back in and have this discussion now.
Is this you angling for a command roll? Is that what I'm picking up here?
Yes, it is. I'm trying to slash through his willpower directly and like be like, oh fuck.
It's hard doing command without being intimidating.
Yeah.
With Victor's character, like, because as a mercenary, it's always like.
Well, the thing is, he can be
to it.
He can be in other ways, but that's like not the situation he's in at the moment.
Alright, so yep, no, the command roll's all good, but much like the last roll, I'm actually adding more to it, so it's going to be -6. So in your case, that means you're adding
10 plus.
You're adding 10 to your roll.
There we are. Well, that's a 16, so 26.
That's why we're a team.
Indeed.
So
Here I go, snicker.
his mate is out the door. His mate's in the hallway, out in the alleyway. Sorry, I keep saying hallway. Alleyway. And he's like, oh, Albie, come on, mate. Come on. This just, you know. And Albrecht sort of stops at the door, looks at you. And he's like, go on. Talk fast while I'm still here to listen.
You must know something more than what you're telling. Otherwise you wouldn't be this desperate to get out of here. These people have been looking for you. Have they found you? Ever? Gotten close?
Yeah, it was pretty fucking close. I was out the back window and bouncing out of my house when I was starting to tear it apart looking for me. Them red sash motherfuckers. They was looking for me. Tore the place apart. I was going, I don't know why, I don't fucking know nothing. All I've been working here, just minding my own business, keeping my head down, just doing my own thing, right? And that couple, matrimonial harmony that they had, different rooms. I mean, I don't know why you'd be married to someone you ain't. He just leaves the unspoken bit there. Look, mate, I just do my work, keep my head down, mind my own business, and now this shit.
It is an unfortunate thing that your business, and if you work for someone like this, your business will always be their business. Or their business will become yours. But, come down, sit down, we'll have the discussion here, and you can leave, we'll find a way for you to Streisand's all quick and quiet. You can get home. How does that sound? Doesn't it sound good to see your family again? To be able to hug your relatives? Instead of sitting around here sweating your ass off in fear. Forever until you die in a ditch. Sit down.
He sits. He takes a deep breath. And that's where we'll end the session. And that concludes this episode. Thank you for listening to Valley of Blood. If you like what you've heard and you would like to hear more, please head to mbcast.co for all things Mud and Blood related. We would like to thank Dan Heim for allowing us to use his music for the theme song of this show, as well as some of the atmosphere heard in the episode, as well as story blocks and tabletop audio for much of the sound effects and remaining music. But that is us for now. Tune in 2 weeks for the next episode. Until then, have a good one. Bye-da.